Hi everyone. Today I want to share the experience I had losing my dogs and the grief I felt when it happened. This is Luna and this is Dexter. Luna passed away more than a year ago now. Losing her was truly heartbreaking for my whole family. But I think it had the most impact on me because she was my constant companion. Both of my dogs were actually, but Luna was like my shadow. She literally followed me everywhere. And so when she passed away, I felt her absence immensely. My grief was just unbearable. I cried every day for months, and I suffered this sort of dysfunction, which, to be honest, is difficult to admit because people may say, well, it's just a dog, or aren't you overreacting? But Luna was not just a dog. She was part of my family, and she was one of my best friends. This past months, I had learned to slowly adjust to life without Luna. But then a couple of weeks ago, just after Christmas, my family and I had to say goodbye to our other dog, Dexter, whom we all loved as much as Luna. And so I find myself grieving again for another lost friend and family member. And the pain is just as intense as when Luna left us. Both dogs have become an integral part of my daily life. And so their absence is very painful and disorienting. At the moment, I struggle to imagine my world without both of them. I am aware of how ironic the situation is, given the fact that I originally didn't even want a dog. My husband and kids begged me for years for us to have a dog, and for years I said no. Back then, I had no experience bonding with a dog. I thought a dog would just be messy and smelly and a lot of work to take care of. But I didn't want to be selfish. I could see that my family really wanted a dog, and my kids were old enough to help care for it. And so I gave in and said yes. But I did set some rules. For example, I told them that I didn't want the dog on the couch or on the bed. Basically, no dog on the furniture. And after every time we take the dog out, we need to wipe him clean. My husband had already done some research on what breeds are ideal for first time dog owners with children, and he had decided that a Boston Terrier would be a good breed for us. And so in the summer of 2010, we got this little puppy and named him Dexter. Yes, after the serial killer. To everyone's amusement, especially my husband's, I quickly fell in love with Dexter. I mean, who wouldn't fall in love with this puppy? I was also the first one to break my own rule of not having dogs on the furniture. I let him sleep with us on the bed, and he cuddled with us on the couch, and I also spoiled him by always having him on my lap. After 4 years of having Dexter, we decided to get another dog so that Dexter would have a canine companion. This time we decided to get a large dog. Our youngest daughter was obsessed with black labs at the time, so we sought out to get a black lab, although we ended up getting a flat-coated retriever, which looks like a cross between a black lab and a golden retriever. My daughter insisted we call her Luna, and so we did. And for almost a decade, since we brought Luna home, we were a family of 4 humans and 2 dogs, and we were happy. I developed a deep emotional bond with these 2 dogs. Luna was just the sweetest dog ever. She loved to cuddle and was very affectionate, and she stuck by my side like glue. She was also very playful and extremely friendly. Dexter was also very sweet and affectionate, although he was more independent than Luna. He tended to be by my side as well, but unlike Luna, he didn't follow me from room to room. He can be stubborn and mischievous at times, and he loved to sunbathe. He loved to lay on what we called sunspots in the house, and no matter how many times you called him, he would remain there until the sun moved. Both dogs enriched my life and the life of my family. They taught us how to be better humans by showing us kindness and unwavering love every single day. But with the beauty of having dogs comes an inherent pain. Knowing that your time together is short. So I regarded the presence of my 2 dogs in our lives as a gift that I never took for granted. Every moment I spent with them, I loved them with all my heart. Luna had just turned 9 years old when we took her to the vet for what we thought was just a skin allergy. It turned out to be an aggressive form of skin cancer that had already spread to her liver, and she only had 2 to 4 months left to live. We were in total shock. I even thought that maybe we heard it wrong or the vet was mistaken. How could this sweet, playful dog, who always greeted us with so much enthusiasm, be sick and dying? I always assumed she would die of old age. Now we're being told that we don't have a lot of time left with her. It was just heartbreaking. The vet told us that we can have Luna undergo chemo or she can be put on hospice care with the aid of meds for pain management. Maintaining a good quality of life for Luna was our priority. We didn't want her to suffer through the cancer treatment, especially since we were told that it can only extend her life by just a month. And even then, there's no guarantee. So we chose hospice care and made sure her remaining days were as comfortable and as peaceful as possible. Luna was able to share 2 more months of her life with us. And in those 2 months, she remained active and playful for the most part. We continued to have our daily walks with her. And she continued to play fetch and eat well. She carried on with life as normally as possible, although she did get tired easily, and sometimes she would withdraw from us and rest in isolation. That's when I knew she was in pain. We knew it was time to say goodbye when we could clearly see that her suffering was becoming difficult for her to hide. I am so grateful for my husband for taking care of making the appointment for Luna's last visit to the vet. I could tell it was emotionally difficult for him to do. The whole family was present for her during her last moments, and we all expressed our love. The room was filled with love and tears as we said our final goodbye. The drive back home was so solemn. I think we've exhausted our tears for the time being back at the pet clinic. And so we just silently sat in the car each one of us lost in our own thoughts. When we arrived home, Dexter eagerly greeted us as we walked through the front door, but then stopped and looked confused when he realized Luna wasn't with us. He searched the house repeatedly, hoping to find Luna. And then I think he understood what had happened, that Luna wasn't coming back. Being back in the house without Luna felt surreal. It was like I was thrust into an alternate world where everything looked the same but things just felt different. The house felt empty and I went about my days in a haze. I felt like I was in a bad dream and I desperately needed someone to wake me up. I found it difficult to be anywhere in the house. I was so used to her following me around that even just walking from one space to the other was an ordeal. Her absence was deafening and it overwhelmed me. There were split moments when I would forget that she was gone, like some mornings when I would wake up and then pause at the top of the stairs, expecting her to rush by my side so we can walk downstairs together. And then I would remember, and I would feel this aching hollow in my heart, and then I would cry. I noticed Luna's death also affected Dexter. The two dogs did almost everything together when Luna was alive, and in the weeks that followed after her death, I would sometimes find Dexter just standing in the middle of a room or in the middle of a hallway, looking lost. One time while out on our walk, he saw a big black dog, and I could see his optimistic second glance turn to disappointment. I hugged him and told him that I miss her too. Dexter was already a senior dog, but he aged quickly after Luna's passing. His routines filled our daily lives, which helped us cope with our grief. Over time, his senses diminished, leaving him mostly blind and deaf. In spite of this, he was a relentless fetcher up until his last days, often playing with my husband for more than 2 hours daily. He stayed with us for another 14 months after Luna's death. He lived a good, happy life. But just like Luna, his weakened body couldn't hold his beautiful soul anymore. And so we had to say goodbye. Losing my dogs is probably the most devastating experience I've had so far. When Luna died, I felt so angry and questioned whether it was even worth it to care for dogs, knowing they don't live very long. Is it fair to give them so much love and to get so attached to them, only to experience gut-wrenching heartache when they die? The first week or so after Luna died, even my memories of her gave me pain because they just amplified her absence. But as I learned to better process my grief, I realized that the joy and love that these dogs gave to my family, as well as the life lessons we learned from them, far outweigh the pain and heartache of losing them. They made our lives so much better. And now, my memories of them are sources of joy and a way to keep them alive in my heart. And so yes, loving a dog is very much worth it, and I would gladly do it all over again. I saw this TED Talk video by Sarah Hogan, who is an emergency vet. And in the video, she said, "When pets look at us, they don't judge. They don't see our flaws. They look at us and they say with their eyes, 'You are perfect and I love you.' That is the warmest and most fulfilling connection to have. And that is why it is worth it to have a dog in your life. And that's also why it's so difficult. when they have to go. And to paraphrase British psychiatrist Dr. Colin Murray Parks, grief is the natural price we pay for loving, and it is always worth loving. Thank you for sitting with me and listening. And if you've ever experienced pet loss, I'm so sorry. I hope you're okay. If you're struggling and in pain, know that it's normal and that it will get better. Just allow yourself to grieve, no matter how long it takes, and know that it will get better.